Hello viewers, this is Paladin of Odin, and this is some more Magic the Gathering Online. This is another episode of the Standard Commentary series. So, blue and white versus blue and black, and he just played Waste Not. The other guy had 2 mana open, but he didn't do anything with it. I was honestly expecting a counter of some sort. Unless he didn't have one of... Oh, Banishing Light. Sphinx's Tutelage. Ah, okay. So this is going to be a black-blue mill deck. Now, I want to say the other deck is a blue-white control deck, but we haven't seen much from him yet. Wow. Okay, so yes, in fact, it is a blue and white control deck. And he just lost a lot of good stuff. Ashiok. You're either going to counter it or you're not. He can't play anything else this turn. Am I going to have to start pausing the recording because you're just stalling? Delve. Dig through time. That took a ridiculous amount of time to actually play a dig through time. So it is possible that he doesn't have a counter in his hand, and that's why he needs to dig. And Clash of Wills for 1. So no Ashiok. But Ashiok isn't really essential to a mill deck. He's a nice helper. But now comes the hard part of being able to cause yourself to draw more cards. Because you're playing against a blue and white control deck. Sign in Blood. He let it go through. Interesting. He didn't lose much though. Bunch of lands and a cancel. Oh, and a Banishing Light, sorry. Six mana. Just making sure. Another Delve. Well, we know you have a dig through time. Because Treasure Cruise only costs 1 blue. Ojutai's Command. To draw a card and gain 4 life? Another ends hostilities and a single land. Dark Deal. You really need to counter that. Instead, he has to dig because it's obvious that he doesn't have a counterspell in his hand. Otherwise, there's no reason to dig first. Clash of Wills for 2. Did you miss a mana there, pal? I think he did. Simple misclick. He missed one of his lands to click to make it so that it was a counterspell. So they took a decent amount of time to sideboard, which is understandable. Now that the blue-white deck knows what he's up against, he can dump some cards. Like, most likely, you know, 1 or 2 copies of End Hostilities, maybe your Last Breaths. Altar of the Brood. This is a ridiculously annoying card, considering how cheap it is for what it does. It is one of the most annoying cards that I come across. I mean, it doesn't seem like it does a whole lot, but if you think about it, by itself, it completely screws up Scry. You play a card with Scry, a second altar. Anyway, I'll finish my thought. You play a card with Scry, you know, any number of Scry, really. Oh, Clash of Wills, good play. And you either dump or keep the card on top. If you keep the card on top, the next time he plays something, that card is gone. If you wanted it, too bad. So when somebody plays Altar of the Brood, if you're playing Scry, you're pretty much left with only one choice. If you want that card, you have to put it on the bottom, or you're going to lose it. Okay, he's tapped out all of his mana. Okay, there we go. Dark Deal. Why would you do that now? Is it just to mess up his hand? Negate. But back to the sideboarding. The blue-white control deck, now that he knows that he's up against a black and blue mill deck, there are a lot of cards that he can side out and side in. The black-blue mill deck isn't going to have a lot of creatures, if any, for you to deal with. So a lot of your killing of creatures or taking care of them cards can go, which leaves you room to bring in more counterspells. Secure the Wastes. That's a pretty decent card against Mill, because they typically don't have a lot of board clear themselves, because they're mainly focused on being able to get something to mill you and then cranking it as hard as they can to try and get you dead. You know, it's all about, like, Sphinx's Tutelage. If he can land one of those, then it's all about drawing cards. Right now, he's stuck with Altar of the Brood, which is slow, but reliable. Alright, Sphinx's Tutelage. Undoubtedly, he will counter it. But because you're playing blue in your mill deck, you can also be playing counterspells. Negate cuts both ways. Dict through time. So it's obvious, again, that he doesn't have a counterspell, or he would have just done it. Dissolve on the Sphinx's tutelage. So the mill deck did not, in fact, have a 2 mana cost counterspell in his hand. So at the moment, it's looking like the blue-white control deck is, in fact, in control. Waste not. Let that one resolve. We haven't seen a whole lot of creatures from him, so we probably don't have to worry about the zombie tokens. So it's most likely just going to be mana and drawing a card. Dragon Lord's Prerogative. What's that? Dragon can't be countered. That would actually be a really good card for the mill deck, except for having to have dragons. Because otherwise there's no real point in playing it. You know, one extra card? So now we are in the slow grind because the black-blue mill deck has so few cards compared to his opponent. Duress. Most likely that is going to resolve. Or not. Cancel. I was going to say most likely it's going to resolve because he wants to be able to conserve his mana to be able to counter whatever the mill deck plays. Alright, here comes Dig. He is down to 27 cards though. Dark Deal would actually be pretty brutal right now. Sphinx's tutelage. He's got to have a counter. Right? You've drawn a crap ton of cards. You have to have a counter spell in your hand. Alright, dissolve. He must not have wanted that card on top of his deck. So morph. In white and blue. only thing that's coming to mind is Dragon Slayer. Farika's Cure. Wow, haven't seen that in a really long time. Stratus Dancer. Interesting. Waste not. He lets that resolve. We have come to an interesting crossroads. I'm fairly certain that the control deck is going to win this game. Ashiok. No way that he lets that resolve. I mean, you have 6 cards in hand. I highly doubt that you have only... He lets it resolve. Loses a cancel, which lets him draw 2... Oh, it's not. It's discard. Sorry, guys. I thought that this is whenever they went into the graveyard. That would be way too freaking powerful, though. So, Farika's Cure again. Are you gonna save it or not? This really isn't that tough if you only have one counterspell. So, no creatures, so Ashiok is just mill. But that might have been what he needed to take it back. Because now he's got 19 cards in his deck. And Ashiok can do 3 every turn. Altar of the Brood has pretty much run its course. There's no reliability in being able to play a permanent at this stage in the game. Secure the Wastes for 7. Okay, never mind. Ashiok is dead. Languish. Counter. That Secure the Wastes really turned this right back into his favor. Because if he hadn't been able to kill Ashiok, Ashiok would have made the difference. But now it's just looking like a one-way street. I don't really see how the mill deck is going to pull out of this one. Ashen Cleric. Another Ashiok. Negate. And he is out of gas. This game is pretty much over. Except for the formalities of being attacked. Ojutai's command. He's getting a creature. And drawing a card. 7, 8, 9, 10 damage. And he concedes. And he concedes the match. Well, there you go, guys. One game to each side. Blue-white control versus blue-black mill. If you liked what you saw, hit that like and subscribe button for me.